Fresh off the back of Far Cry 4 comes Far Cry Primal. As the title suggests, this ancestral saga takes place many millennia ago. As much as Primal does not carry over the number moniker, Primal is indeed a Far Cry game. We can't address the accuracy Ubisoft put into Primal, such as what was and what was not around 10,000 years ago, for our lack of knowledge on the era. Though this is every bit a first-person Far Cry adventure game gameplay-wise, the developer made sure Primal was able to carry its own history and genre, without the help of heavy story elements or out-of-sorts weaponry. Ubisoft's take on our world during primitive human upbringing feels nearly authentic, but sometimes slightly stereotypical. You play as Takar, a primitive man who travels with his tribe searching for their Wenja cousins. Trouble stacks up against the tribe, and Takar is quickly on his own. Soon he begins to enlist others in an attempt to bring about a new tribe to fight against competing tribes taking over all the land and killing his people. Again, this is a very early time in ancient history. As such, the story is spoken through native tongues and very rough rudimentary storytelling, and we wouldn't have it any other way. It really tends to emphasize this era. Just don't go into this game thinking you'll get the full breakdown of early human emotions and thought processes you would in other games taking place in this time. Building up the game's village not only takes members, but resources and housing. Primal isn't just about going from one place to another and killing humans left and right. A large part is about community. Gathering and hunting resources such as rocks, sticks, and animal skins are used in the building of huts within the tribe, and can also be used to build weapons and equipment when out traversing the wilderness while recruiting new tribe members, building your numbers up, and resisting the onslaught of enemy control. That sounds pretty much like Far Cry, right? The thing is that this is Far Cry as the title suggests, and Ubisoft never tried to hide that fact from us, and that's just fine. Takar has a few different weapons to choose from: a spear, bow, and arrow, and of course a club. There are plenty of other primitive weapons throughout, but these are the main focus for nearly the entire game. Those resources we mentioned earlier have multiple purposes, many of which can be crafted into new items and equipment, such as an arrow quiver or a guts bag. What's nice is how easy it is to create and upgrade weapons and items. Some equipment does take a lot of resources to produce an item, but the land of Oros is vast and material can be found almost everywhere. For the most part, weapons feel strong and precise just like in a good first-person game. Too much swaying and inaccuracy can actually be worked on through acquiring new skills. Takar also possesses a hunter vision. Hunter vision can be accessed at any moment, turning Takar's vision gray, but highlighting specific and often important elements to help him further his search. Along the way of building up Takar's village, there are plenty of fights with wild beasts and rival tribes throughout. Taking over their camps helps to build your land even larger. Each action tends to build XP that eventually becomes skill points. These skill points can be turned into a variety of different and very useful survival skills for Takar. What's interesting is that Primal is designed as an open-world adventure where you can go off and do whatever you'd like at any given time. However, for certain skills to be unlocked, specific tribesmen must be recruited to teach you in order to unlock different skill types, such as gathering, fighting, crafting skills, etc. Moving forward in the story is rewarding in that way. The land of Oros is a very big and very dangerous place to venture into. Poisonous snakes, swamp monsters, tribesmen, and falling off a cliffside can make the adventure quite grueling and difficult from time to time. Luckily, early on, you learn Takar contains specific beasts and even some he can ride on. These animals, such as saber-tooths and bears, are often lifesavers. They can stick by Takar's side throughout his adventure, fighting in the face of opposition randomly, or even told what to do specifically with a couple of button clicks. As these beasts take damage, they can be healed by allowing them to feed on meat. And if they die, a few resources can bring them back to life, rather than having to go out into the wild and hunt down and tame another beast just like it. On a side note, taming a beast doesn't help you from accidentally falling off of a cliffside. You're not going to find an amazing voice cast in Primal, as everything is spoken through a native tongue and words are few and far between. You're definitely not going to find a compelling musical score by today's hottest artists either, which is a good thing. Could you imagine playing as a primitive man and hearing a modern singer rapping along as you try to sneak through a deep cave, trying your hardest to just survive the harsh conditions of the night? That would be hilarious, but it just wouldn't fit in here like it would in games such as Grand Theft Auto or Watch Dogs. Instead, your ears will be fixated on ancient horn blowing, the beating of animal high drums, and very archaic notes. In a way, it's quite mesmerizing. In a large way, Far Cry Primal is a very big success. We didn't experience any major flaws, glitches, or bugs throughout the entire game. However, for being a genre that is rarely touched, it felt as though there was something missing. That X factor that makes a game stand out amongst its peers. Primal has the guts, the ambition, and the execution, but not the flair you'd expect from many of Ubisoft's bigger franchises. And though that doesn't at all make this a bad game, in any way, it keeps it from achieving that status few games have that truly make it feel defining.
If you like what we're doing, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. See you soon!